Your team already has an opinion of you, not after a week, not after your first team meeting. Right now, before you've said a word about your vision or your management style or what you expect. They watched how you walked in on day one. They noticed whether you knew their names. They clocked how you handled the first uncomfortable moment, the late start, the person who cut someone off, the question nobody wanted to answer. In the military, NCOs know something that most civilian managers don't. Day one is an orientation. It's an audition you didn't know you were in. And unlike formal performance review, there's no rubric. Your team writes it in real time based on what they see, not what you say. I'm going to show you the 5 specific behaviors that determine whether your team respects you or merely tolerates you. None of them require a speech. None of them take weeks to implement, but all 5 of them are either building or destroying your credibility right now, whether you're paying attention or not. Here's the thing most new managers don't understand about respect. You don't earn it with a title. You don't earn it with a speech or in your first day about what kind of leader you want to be. You earn it in small, specific, observable movements, the ones that happen before you've had a chance to build a track record. And the problem is this: most managers are waiting for a big moment to demonstrate their leadership. They're preparing for the important conversation, the hard call, the crisis that proves who they are. But respect doesn't work that way. Your team is already evaluating you on everything that happens before that big moment. And by the time the big moment arrives, the verdict may already be in. I see this constantly. A manager comes in, technically competent, good intentions, real capability, and within 2 weeks, they've lost the room. Not because of anything dramatic, because 5 small behaviors they didn't think mattered. The bad news, credibility lost this early is hard to rebuild. The good news, credibility built this early can compound. Get these 5 things right and you create a foundation that makes every hard conversation, every difficult call, every tough month easier because your team already believes in your judgment. The military doesn't leave this to chance. When someone gets promoted to non-commissioned officer, when they go from being a part of the team to being responsible for the team, there's a principle baked into every NCO leadership course that shapes how they show up from day one. Presence is command. It means your team draws conclusions about your leadership, not from what you tell them, but from what they observe. Your behavior is always communicating something. The question is whether you're being intentional about what it says. NCOs are trained to lead with observable behaviors from the moment they step into the role, because the military understands that perception becomes reality fast. Your team will form a working model of who you are within the first 2 weeks. Once that model's set, every subsequent thing you do gets filtered through it. These 5 behaviors are how you shape that model deliberately, before it gets shaped for you. Link to the free Frontline Command field guide will be in the description. Also, if this is the kind of content that's useful to you as a frontline manager, hit the subscribe button. I put out practical leadership content every week for managers who got promoted without a roadmap. Okay, let's get into it. Behavior 1, follow through on small things before anything else. Your team is not watching your big decisions in week 1. They don't have enough context yet to evaluate those. What they're watching obsessively is whether you do what you say you're going to do on the low stakes stuff. You said you'd get back to someone by the end of the day, did you? You said the meeting starts at 9, did it? You'd said you'd look into something, did you follow up? In the NCO world, this is called establishing your word as standard. Credibility is not built on grand gestures. It's built on hundreds of small, forgettable moments where you did exactly what you said you would do, and destroyed by the equally small moments where you didn't. Here's what your team is actually doing. They're running a low stakes test before they trust you with anything that matters. They're watching to see if your word has weight, and if you can't follow through on the small stuff, they'll draw a very logical conclusion about the big stuff. The action: for the next 30 days, treat every commitment you make, no matter how small, as binding. If you said it, do it. If you can't, update the person before the deadline, not after. That one habit alone will separate you from most managers your team has ever had. Behavior 2, Arrive visibly prepared. In the military, an NCO who shows up uninformed is an NCO who doesn't respect their mission, period. And your team applies the same standard to you. This is not about being perfect, it's about being visibly ready. It's about walking into your first one-on-ones having already reviewed what each person is working on. It's about knowing who's on the team the longest, who just joined, and what the current priorities are before anyone has to tell you. It signals I took this seriously enough to do the work before I walked in the door. Most new managers show up and ask the team to educate them. I understand the instinct. You want to listen, you want to be humble, but here's the version of that which reads as unpreparedness. And your team will notice. Do your homework, know the names, read the last 90 days of context, know what's overdue, what's stuck, and who's carrying the heaviest load. Walk in prepared to ask smart questions, not basic ones. Preparedness is a behavior, and your team will read it as either this person takes leadership seriously or this person is figuring it out at our own expense. Behavior 3. Handle the first uncomfortable moment without flinching. Every team will test their new manager. Not maliciously, it's just what humans do. Someone will show up late, someone will push back in a meeting, someone will give you a half answer and see if you accept it. This is not personal. This is your first real credibility audit. And the audit is binary. Do you address it or do you let it go? NCOs are trained in this specifically. Your first test isn't the hardest one. It's usually minor. But your response to it is going to tell the team everything about how you'll respond to the harder ones. If you let the small things slide, you've just told them where your floor is, and they'll live at that floor. You don't need to be heavy-handed. You don't need to make an example of anyone, but you need to address it calmly, directly, without making it a bigger deal than it is. The message you're sending isn't, I'm the boss, you'll do what I say. The message is, I notice what's happening in this environment and I take the standards seriously. That is exactly what separates a leader from a manager. Behavior 4, state the standard before you hold anyone to it. This one is non-negotiable, and it's the place where the most technically capable managers fail the fastest. You cannot hold someone accountable for a standard you never communicated. In the NCO model, this is foundational. You cannot discipline before you've defined. In your first week, have a short, direct conversation with your team about what you expect. Not a lecture, specific operational standard. What does on time mean? What does done mean? How should disagreements be raised? What's the communication expectation when something's going sideways? Say it once clearly to everyone, then hold it consistently. The reason this builds respect is counterintuitive. Your team actually wants clarity. More workplace frustration comes from ambiguity. When you define the standard, you remove the guesswork. You make the environment navigable. That's what good leaders do. Behavior 5, carry yourself like the decision is already made. Hesitation is visible, doubt is visible, and when your team sees you deliberate in public, over-explaining, second-guessing, asking for consensus on things that shouldn't require it, what they see is a leader who isn't sure they belong in the role. I'm not talking about arrogance, I'm talking about decisiveness as a posture. NCOs are trained to make decisions with 70% of the information and adjust it from there, because in the field, waiting for perfect information is a luxury you rarely have. And the cost of indecision is almost always higher than the cost of a wrong call you can correct. When you walk in with conviction. When you make a call, make it clearly. When you're wrong, say so directly and course correct. Don't apologize your way out of it. Your team doesn't need you to be perfect. They need to trust that you'll make a call when it counts. So let's bring it back. Your team is already building a model of who you are. They started the moment you walked in. And by the time you have your first big leadership moment, the foundation will either be there or it won't. 5 behaviors: follow through on the small things, arrive prepared, handle the first friction without flinching, state the standard before you hold it, and carry yourself like the decision is made. None of these require a perfect speech or a dramatic moment. They require you to be intentional every day in the small things before anyone is paying close attention. That's how you pass the test. If you want the full framework, including a first week checklist built on the NCO model, a one-page team standard template, and a guide for the first 30 days. It's all in the free Frontline Command Field Guide. Link will be in the descriptions. No cost, no strings. I'm Kyle Schmidt. This is Frontline Command. I'll see you in the next one.